Hello.
Hello, sir. Hi.
Hi, Rene. How are you?
I'm fine. Today I'm fine.
Okay. So hope you. I gave 2 days of time to complete the task. Hope you have done this.
I definitely put effort to doing it. I know there are a lot of errors. I don't know how to do it well, but yes, I put in my best to do it.
Okay. And what about others? What about Vinita? Did you finish that?
Yes, sir. I finished that one.
Okay. So where you got the error, Rene? Where you faced the error?
It's for the two assignments, like for the project management, I don't know why. And when I did case 3 and case 4, I I put in the while loop and the get float for the price, but it underlines the get float as as error. I don't know why. Meanwhile, it's for price and price is float. So I don't understand why I did that. For the login, I just don't know how to do the login and registration, because I know you have to register first before you do the login, but I don't know. And then when I was creating the table in the Oracle database, I don't know why it wasn't creating. I'm sure there's just a tiny mistake, but I wasn't getting why it wasn't creating the table.
Okay. So let's see what Vinita has developed the code. I'm going to make you host. Or else you can simply share your code in the chat.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah, just simply put the code. The previous one, project management, and the other one that I asked you, that login and register application. Both you can just share in the chat. Anyone complete the task? Shaman,
This is
updated.
the first one, and I'm trying to send the second one.
Okay. Shaman, update. Any other? Did you complete the task, the assignment?
Yes, I tried to complete it, but I got an issue on the build pass when I do the Oracle thing.
Did you execute the first program we talked about on the day one of a JDBC session?
Still, I did over there, but in this second day homework, when I was trying, I lack some part of the
I need to
program, but
clarify,
I
and
couldn't
I
fix it.
want to clarify with the first coding that we discussed in the day one. I'm not
Yes, I
asking
did.
the second one.
First day.
I'm asking the first one.
Yes,
Executed the
yes, I
code
did
or
that.
not?
Yeah.
So when you have executed the code, then there is no problem with to continue with the second program, because second program you are not going to create a new project folder. You are going to continue with the same project folder. In the same project folder, already you have added your library in the build path. So again, there is no need to do with the second project and again adding the library path. So what you need to do is in the same project, you just need to add a new class file. That's all.
I tried to fix it. If it is possible, can you help me? I mean, I did everything what I could, but
Okay.
I couldn't able.
So the problem over here is Zoom. If I will, make you host, then record is not going to be happening. That is only problem.
Okay. We can do at the end of the session, maybe.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I posted the assignment.
All right. So what I will do by end of the session, I will make you host, and
All right,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Sure.
let me see what the problem or what the error that you guys are having.
Okay, thank you.
What about you, Shimon? Shimon, can you hear me?
Yes.
So do you
I
have
think
any-
I did follow your first video, and I was able to do the first one and second one. I think I was able to execute the third one too. But for deleting, and then I think the delete part I had difficulty, but the view and then the add and then the first two you did, I followed the video.
Okay. All right. So hope you have seen the code what Vinitha has shared. Maybe you can just follow if you have a some challenges for making deleting operations. All right, and whoever any challenges to add the library or maybe some checked exception, then I can make you host in the by end of the session, and we'll see. So now I'm going to share my screen. So this is a code that we have discussed in the last session, that is a day before yesterday, and we have done with the add product. We have successfully executed and we have updated the product also. And I asked you to view product, delete product, and view only the product name and prices. So remaining three operations, I asked you to work on it. And apart from that, I asked you to work on the login applications. Today, I will show you how we can connect it with MySQL database. It's not mandatory, but yes, if you know how to connect with multiple database also, that is an added advantages. Okay, if you know how to connect with at least one database through Java code, that's fine. No one will ask you in interview whether you know how to connect a database through MySQL, to MySQL database or not. No one will ask you. One second. Okay. I have some other code that I work in the different project folder. Just let me show you that. So MySQL Connect, like as I told you before, if you are going to connect Oracle or MySQL or any other database, only the first two lines will be different. That means loading the driver in place of Oracle, you do MySQL database, MySQL driver, and the way how you do establish the connectivity through connection, that is also a different, right? So here you can see that I have a com.mysql JDBC driver classes. There you use Oracle driver. Here simply you do only driver. And in the connection URL also, you can see I have to write there you are writing JDBC colon Oracle, and you have write JDBC MySQL, and there you write user ID, password, okay, or just here you have write just localhost 3306. So for any database, this is the common password, localhost port number, and name of the database that you create, and the username and password of your MySQL database. Okay, and let me make it full screen so that you can easily see the code. Yeah. After the same thing as you did, we can create a table, we can insert the records, we can select the data, we can delete the data, we can update the data, anything that we can do here. So let me show you first how to do connect with this MySQL and this database called StudentDB database. Or else you can create a new database also. That's not a problem. So let me first log in into my MySQL database. That is MySQL work. So go to MySQL. Yeah. This is just for additional knowledge, but it's not a mandatory that you should know to connect to MySQL also. So I will go to MySQL query browser. And the same you can do with MySQL Workbench also, not a problem, same process. So database is admin. Okay. All right. And the database which I have created is StudentDB here. And you can see right side, there are number of database. You can see customer DB, demo DB, all these database which I have created, and you can find your StudentDB database also here. Okay. Now I will connect it to new database schema. So how can you create a different UI will have a different way of approach. So I'm using MySQL database. Okay. And you can do in a different way of approach with MySQL Workbench. So what we can do is simple right click here in the right side of the schema, and you can say create new schema. So you can just give the schema name. That means your database name. I will say demo database something. Error while executing query. I think it is already there. I believe. Yeah, it is there already. That's the reason it's not creating. No problem. Again, right click, create new schema. I will say Java DB. Okay. Java DB is created. Yeah, Java DB is created. Okay. and inside that there is no table. So it is an empty database. You can see Java DB, and I'm going to connect it to this database to create a table inside this. Student DB, and I will say Java DB. Save the code. Now I'm going to simply create a table, and I'm going to insert a record in that table, and I'm going to view the record also. So what is the table I'm going to create? Student table, where I have a student ID. In Oracle, you use number to store the numerical, but in MySQL, you use integer, student name, worker, and student marks float. So there are 3 columns which I have in the student table inside my Java DB database. In Oracle, we don't have such a database required. In place of database, we use only just username and password. That's enough. But in MySQL, you need to specify which database of the MySQL you want to do those operations. So just I want to execute this query to create the table inside this Java DB database, and then I want to insert a record. I want to insert a record into the database, the table which I have created. I just want to insert a record, and after that I just want to see the record also. Okay, simple operations just to understand how it is going to work on it. So let me save it again, and I'm going to run this code. Before you execute the code, you must need to same how you are going to add the OJDBC 14, like OJDBC library in the Oracle into the build path. So for MySQL also, you have to add the MySQL connector. See here, I have both MySQL and as well as ODBC, both have added, right? So this is for Oracle database and this is for MySQL database connectivity. And simply you can download this from the internet, which version of MySQL that you are going to use here. So I am using MySQL 5 database. So I have added MySQL 5 library, that is jar file. All right. Now let me just execute this code and we'll see the output. Yeah. So it says that MySQL database is connected and one record is inserted, and this is the record that I can see here. Now let's go back and check Java DB. Let me just refresh it again. Right click and refresh. So we can see inside the Java DB now student table is created. Before it was empty, and in student table there are 3 columns, and I want to execute this query. Means I want to see the record. So what I can do, simply double click on the student. Automatically you can see the query here. Select star from Java DB, and this is the data. So this is the database. This is the table name. Or else we can write simply with the table name also. Database is not required. So let's execute this query. In the top I have a green button, and I got this record here. Student ID, student name, and marks here. Right. So this is also an alternate way that we can connect it to MySQL database too. Now, the more important thing here we need to understand today's session is not only this MySQL. There are some other interface that normally you use, such as database metadata, result set metadata interface. Let me tell you the use of this interface, database metadata and result set metadata. Database metadata is basically used to get the information of your database. Okay, metadata is nothing but data about data. Data about data. That means I want to know the information of my database. Then I can use database metadata. I just want to know the information of my table. Then I will use result set metadata. Okay, so result set metadata is used to get the information of a table. Database metadata is used to get the information of your database. So let's go with the database metadata. So instead of I'm writing the code, same code, I'm just explaining my existing code that I have written for another batches. So here also going to connect it to Oracle database only. And obviously this is required, right? Load the driver, establish the connection. Definitely that is the minimum steps we need to follow. And here database metadata returns the information about your database. All right. So I'm just going to get the information of my database, connection.get metadata. And this method get metadata, its return type is a database metadata interface. Okay. So I have database metadata reference, right? And by using this DBMD, I can just get the information. So DB here, get driver name, which return the driver name of my database, which return the driver version name, which return the database URL, which return the database username, which return the database product name. So these all are what? Information of my database. Like as a developer, without going to back to get the information of database, I can simply use this database metadata, just use those methods to get the information of my database. So what I should get here, I should get which driver of the database I have used, which driver of the version which I have used in this program, and my database URL, username, which username I have connected, and my product name, what product in details that I can get here. Let me just run this, then you probably can understand. So connected to Oracle database. Okay, fine. The driver details, which driver I'm using, Oracle Jdbc driver, and which Oracle version that you are currently working, Oracle 10G. So it is a 10 version, XE expression edition, and URL it is. Yeah, if you look into the line number 15, I have the same URL, right? And database user system, that is a system user account, and the product name is Oracle, means I have connected to Oracle database. Clear? And next one, as I said, result set metadata. So result set metadata is basically used to get the information from your table. That means how many columns you have, what type of data in that specific columns, right? So all those information you can get it by using result set metadata interface. See. Result set metadata returns information about your database table. Which table you want to execute? I have a table called student application in my Oracle database, student app, right? So whenever you're going to fetch the data, then obviously you have to use execute query method, right? And execute query method return type is the result set. So I just want to get the metadata of this table. Which table? That returns and store into the result set. So I will say result set get metadata. So get column level 1. That means I want to get the first column name. How many columns in that table existed? What type of data of second columns? And get column display size, means what is the size of the table column? Which column? Third column size. Second column name. How many columns it existed? And what is the name of the column of the first? Those information I want to know. Yeah. See here, it says the first column is a student ID. How many columns I have? 3 columns I have. What type of data? The second column, which is a worker types, and what is the size of the third column, which is a 22 size here. Clear? So we understood about database metadata, which return the information of my database. Result set metadata, which return the information of my table. How many columns you have, what type of data that belong to the particular columns, and what is the size of the the column that we have defined. So those information we can get it by using this result set metadata. If you remember previous sessions, I said there are three different types of statement we use. One is a statement object, second one is the prepare statement object, and the third one is a callable statement object. What is the difference between statement and prepare statement? Who can answer? Difference between statement, prepare statement. Even I answered the same previous sessions. Difference between statement and prepare statement.
Yes, sir. Can I tell you?
Yeah, anyone can.
Yeah, with the help of a prepare statement object, we execute the plain static queries, SQL queries. But in a prepared statement, we can execute the parameterized query.
Okay, next.
Then next one, in the statement, we can execute the multiple SQL queries or statements, but as compared to the prepared statement, we execute only once. And related to the speed, I think the statement object is slower as compared to the prepared statement.
Why it is slow?
Because each and every time it executes the statements and whatever the SQL queries.
No, that's wrong. I didn't tell all this. I said a statement object will always compile the SQL queries that any number of time we execute the code. How many number of time I will execute the code, that many number of time it is going to compile the SQL queries. But prepare statement will not compile every times. It will compile only once. So that is the reason prepare statement is better than statement object. That I said. And statement object is used for to execute plain SQL queries, but prepare statement is used for execute a parameterized query. What is the next one?
Related to the speed. That.
Speed we discussed already. What is the next one? Three difference I said. Third one is
Callable.
one statement object we can use for multiple query execution. Means one statement object we have already discussed, right? We have create the table, we have insert the record, we have update the record. So one statement is enough. But in prepare statement, one prepare statement can execute only one queries, not multiple. So that is one disadvantage also in the prepare statement, you can say. So these are the difference between statement, prepare statement. Then the third one I'm going to discuss today is a callable statement, which extend the prepare statement. I'm talking about callable statement. Callable statement is basically used to execute a pre-compiled SQL queries, and especially we use the callable statement for store procedure. What is the store procedure, Kunal? Store procedure is something, it is a pre-compiled function which you already executed in the database, and just we are going to call that function in the Java programming. Means one function is already compiled. It's ready to use by the developer in any Java application to call the store procedure. What is a store procedure? Store procedure is something a SQL functions that we use to to do the same transaction multiple times with different Java code. Means before we talk about the store procedure, first we need to understand about a function, a method. What is the use of the method? One method or one function can be used many number of time by many number of object. Yes or not? One object can execute the same function. Number two object also can execute the same function or the operations. Same thing here also. One store procedure means one SQL functions which you are going to create that can be executed many number of Java code. Okay, so this is something a SQL based methods, and that method can be just execute many number of times. There is another advantage also in the store procedure. You no need to write any SQL queries in your Java code. Simply you are just a coin, you will just call this function name. That's all. Only one time I can execute this procedure in the Java code? Not exactly. Any number of time you can execute this code, not an issue. Okay, that is the advantage. So before you are going to execute, before you are going to talk about the code, how we can call the procedure, first let me show you how we can create the procedure in the database. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in into my Oracle database. That's my user ID and password. Okay, I'll go to SQL and SQL commands. And I will create a procedure first. Before I go for to create a procedure, I will create a table first. Create a table. Employee record. Have a column called employee ID column. But is a data type and the length is a 5. Second one is employee name. Worker 20 and I will say employer salary. Length is a 10 here. Name is already used by existing one, but I will say employee record 1. I'm going to change the table name because this employee record is already there. Table is created. My table name is employee record 1. Okay. Now I'm going to create a procedure. So what is the procedure name here? The syntax just follow. Create a replace. If it is already there, just replace procedure. Name of the procedure is employee. And I'm going to pass some parameter. I'm going to say employee ID number, means I want to insert employee ID in number data types. In number, employee name, worker, employee salary in float. Then I want to start my next step to write the logic, means what exactly I want to do by this procedure is begin insert. I'm going to use this procedure to add employee records. So instead of I write the SQL query in my Java code, simple, I will call this procedure, which will help me to insert the record into the table. So I will say insert into employee record 1. Values, say employee ID. What are the parameters? Just I'm going to use that. What are the parameter I passed? Just I'm going to insert that parameter here. So first parameter is the employee ID. Second is employee name. It is not a mandatory to have the same name of your column name. You can give a different name also. That's not a problem. So employee ID, employee name, and the third one is the employee salary. All right. I will say and terminate. Let me create this procedure. So select and say run. What I got the result here, procedure is created successfully. Yes, procedure is created. What I need to do, I just need to call this procedure in Java code. I can call this procedure only one time, or I can use this any number of times in any Java code. No, you can use this procedure any number of times in any Java code. It's not a mandate that only one time you can do. Now let's go back to my code. So I have already the programming stuff. Simply I will just change this name of the procedure. Go to this callable statement example. What is my procedure name? Add employee, right? See, in place of statement or previous statement, I'm using the callable statement, and prepare call method is return type is a callable statement. In statement, what we are going to use create statement. In prepare statement also we are going to call prepare statement methods, right? But in callable statement can be called by using prepare call. That means I want to call the procedure which is already prepared in the database. Just I want to call this. So what is the procedure name what we created just before? Add employee. Let me call that here. And how many parameter we pass? 3 parameter. Here also we have 3 parameter. And now I'm going to read this data from the console. So I'm not going to directly pass here. I will read the data from the console. So what I will do here, I will simply read the data by using scanner. So I will say okay. So I will ask to run the employee details. So the user has to provide the employee information. So I'm going to ask it enter employee information. Integer employee ID auto c dot integer c dot next. Third one is employee salary. Okay. So what I will do, simply I will just pass the parameter here. So this is my employee ID. I'm going to set the first integer values. That is the first parameter here. So the first parameter is what? My first column index, which is employee ID. Second parameter is what? Employee name. And third one is a salary. Execute update. Normally we use, no matter whether it is statement, prepare statement, or color statement, we are going to use the same execute update method. So if the count is something 0, that means if it is inserted when we call this procedure. Okay, this is a syntax to call the procedure. Within curly braces, we will say call the name of the procedures. Right. I'm writing any SQL queries in this program? Not exactly, because all the logic stuff that how this procedure exactly do the task you have already written inside the procedure here. So simple, we can just avoid to you know to see the SQL queries in the your programming code. We are going to simply call only the procedure. So once this procedure is called, the value will be go insert into that employee record one table, and I will see the record has inserted. Now let me run this code to see how it works. Enter employee info. So first I have to give employee ID 13210. Employee name is error. Employee salary is 6,000. Yes, it says connected to Oracle database and record also inserted. Now let's go back and check. Select the from employee record one. Clear? So that is the use of a callable statement. Next, I will show you the next concept, which is called batch. Okay, so we have a execute method to execute a simple query which returns a boolean type. I have a execute update method which returns integer type. Just we can know what exactly the value has inserted or updated or deleted. We can just get the information. We have seen execute query method, that is especially for select operations. Same, we have a method called execute batch method. What is the use of execute batch method? Let's say you wanted to insert multiple data, like I want to insert multiple employee records, I wanted to insert multiple customer records, I wanted to insert multiple student record in one table. Do you want me to execute multiple insert queries? Not exactly. So to insert the multiple record in one tables continuously, you are going to use batch, that we called execute batch method. So I will show you a example of a batch execute, means how we can insert the same record, how we can execute the same record multiple times. That we are going to discuss now. Add multiple items. I think this one already there in the different program. The name, class name I have given different. See here. Add multiple items. What I'm doing here, This is compulsory required. Connection part we already know, and I'm going to use a prepare statement here. Insert into products. I want to execute this query multiple times. Okay, more than one times I want to execute this query. How that is possible? Simply by using the execute batch method. Enter multiple item records that you want to insert. While the condition is true, it will keep asking. Okay, so it is asking enter the product ID, product name, and prices. And I'm going to set the parameter first column index, second column index, and the third column index, because I have a 3 parameter, right? So I need to pass 3 parameter values, no doubt. Now you can see I'm going to call the add batch method. Add batch method is to add the record into the data SQL buffer area, temporary area. It is not going to insert in your table. It is just going to add in your temporary area, your buffer area. Do you want to add one more item? If yes, see, if the option is equal to no, the loop is going to break. If the option is equal to yes, then what exactly is going to happen? Again, the while loop is become true, and then again it is going to asking the same thing, right? And then finally, I'm going to call execute batch method. See here, means whatever the record that I have added in the temporary area, at a times I want to execute all the queries to insert at a times. I want to insert at a time, so every the record into the product table. And execute batch method return type is a integer array. Execute method return type is a boolean. Execute update method return type is a integer. Execute query method return type is a result setter. And execute batch method return type is array. Sometimes remember, you will get a questions in interview, what is the difference between execute and execute update method? What will answer for this? Execute method return type is a boolean. It returns true if the query is okay. And execute update method return type is a integer. It will let us know that how many records that are reflected into my respective database tables. Okay, and execute batch method return type is an integer array. So if I'm just going to printing here the length. That means how many record, I mean how many items has inserted into the table here. So let me check whether the product table is there or not. If I will execute this code, if the product table is not there, then my program will not execute. Yes or not? And I'm not creating the table also here, right, in this program. So make sure you should have this product table before we execute this program. Now let's go back to my code and check the products table is there or not. So what I can do is you can see products table. Let's start from products. Yes, already table is there. So we are good to go to execute this code. Let's run it. Enter multiple item record. First item record is a 606. Product name is a, I'm going to say okay, some grocery item I'm going to add. Say, what is the price for the oil? Say $50. Next, do you want to add one more item into your inventory management? Yes. Enter the next product ID, 609, anything that yours is. And what is the product name? Say something called cheese. Something called sugar. And what is the price? Say something called $40. Do you want to add one more time, one more items? Yes. Enter product ID, 615, the product ID. And what is the product name here? I can say something called salt. I can say washing powder. Soap based. What is the price for the soap? Say something called $35. $35. Do you want to add one more item? No, 3 items is enough. Oil, sugar, and soap. I will say no. 3 item record has been inserted. Now let's go back and check. More than 10 rows available. So I need to increase the size here in the top. By default, it will display only 10 rows. Let me make it 20 rows. Again, select the query and run. The last 3 record you can see. The 3 record have been inserted. So that is a use of execute batch method, which can simply add into the buffer, and at a time it will be keep inside the record the moment we will call the execute batch method. All right, so now you can just follow the recorded session over the weekend, and whatever you have discussed, you can do the practice. Now let me see whatever that the challenges that you guys have. I'm going to say stop my screen sharing, and I will check one by one. So let me start with Haptit. Okay, I'm making you host. Let me see your screen.
Okay.
And then next we'll see Raine.
Sure. Yeah.
What happened?
Okay. My problem is over here. When I go to build the paths, it's not coming all this.
Configure build path. Build path. Click on library. Library tab. Yeah, Jdbc support already you have added. No need to add
Yeah.
again. It's already there. You can close it. Okay. And even there is no compilation error also. So program has supposed to execute.
Yeah, I mean, when we click over here, it should
No,
come all the
that's what
list.
I'm telling you. That is what I'm trying to say. Listen, you no need
Okay.
to add the library again and again. Only one time you have added, that's fine. That's done. Here the insert query spelling is mistake. INSR not it's not it is not INSRET line number 32. It is INSERT. You are not following properly my recorded also. Line number 32. Insert spelling is wrong.
Insert.
Yeah, save it. Have you created this table product app in your database?
Yeah, I mean, once the computer, I use Simon's computer because once I get a problem with this one,
Okay. Now click. Yeah. Now
I thought
you can
if
just
it is okay, the
go to the
build the paths, I'm
console.
okay. Follow that.
Go to the console and you can just give the choices one. One. I said not two. One. Yeah. Enter. Something goes wrong. Can you go up? Can you go up in the console? Oracle JDBC driver, Oracle driver. Class not found exception. Go to the program. Oracle, it is Oracle O is small, not capital. Line number 22, oracle.jdbc.driver, O is a small, not capital. Yeah. Now you can run. Enter 1. Go back, go up. Listener refused to connect with the following error, sir.
Okay, I mean, if there is no any problem on the build path, I will follow it again because I use other computer. I thought the problem was on the build path. If it's not on that, I will fix it.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Next, can you make a host to Rene?
Sure, I will.
Make a host to Rene. What's the problem? What is your problem? Tell me. I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Sorry, 1 minute. Yeah, it's having show windows. Okay, so I was saying that in the first assignment, so product management,
Okay.
I think it's the way I was putting the codes, but this get float is in the way, and I don't know if the way I put in, the prepared statements and all the codes, and if it's correct. Case
Can you
4,
just put the cursor
same
over
thing.
there?
The cursor, okay. Yeah. Come on.
Here you are not supposed to give the what is called the column name. You have to just give the column index 1, 2, 3 like that.
So instead of rs.getFloat, here, sorry, instead of price, I put like 3.
Yes, here you have called get integer. You have in place of ID, you have to give 1.
I didn't really understand why that should be like that.
Yeah, remove the ID, just to give the column index. What is the column index? 1. So you have to give 1. And same get string 2, get float 3 like that. Okay, next.
Yes, I did that. Okay. This is the delete, but I don't know if the delete, if I did it
Result
well.
set,
So
result set object RS already you have created somewhere, so it could not be duplicated. You have to make RS1 or something because you cannot use the duplicate one. Again, there is error compilation. Just put the cursor over there and check. RS1 cannot resolved. What exactly you are doing here? Record deleted. You are going to delete the record, right? Or what?
Yes, I wanted to.
The record. Option 4 is what? To delete the record, right?
Yes.
So then what is the use of while loops? Not required. The result set is not required there.
Then is this complete already? I think I wanted to show at the end of the deletion that whatever record is remaining, that was what I wanted to do.
Then you have to, yeah, then you have to write again select query operations, select star from table name, throw result set, again you have to use. Again you have to write a result set object. Then you will write result set rs1 is equal to prepare statement dot execute query, right? And then you write select star from table name, and after that you have to retrieve it same as you did before in option 3.
Okay. I'll try that. Okay.
What is the next?
The second assignment, I just don't know how to do login. So it's just a whole mix up of things. I know the beginning is okay, but because there has to be registration first before they insert, I don't know how to do that. So
yeah, login part I will tell you, or else we can just go through the code whatever Vinita has here, because quickly I need to join another meeting now. So just click
okay.
the first one and check the login. If it doesn't work, then again I will see on Monday sessions.
Okay, I'll check what Vinita did. Okay.
Okay, bye.